BBC News with Fiona MacDonald. The head of the United Nations has warned that the planet is entering an era of global boiling. António Guterres was speaking after the UN released data showing this month is virtually certain to be the hottest ever recorded. Mr Guterres said the figures were a disaster for the world. He pleaded for immediate radical action to tackle climate change. More from our climate editor, Justin Rowlatt.
The finding is based on tens of thousands of temperature measurements recorded by meteorologists all over the world and means this month the world was the hottest it's been for 120,000 years. We have certainly seen prolonged hot weather this year with simultaneous heat waves across 4 continents: the US, Asia, Southern Europe and North Africa. At the same time, sea surface temperatures have reached some record highs and the extent of Antarctic sea ice has hit record lows.
President Biden has announced a number of measures to help Americans deal with extreme temperatures as a heat wave spreads across large parts of the United States. The government will declare a heat hazard alert to give greater protection for people in the workplace, particularly those outdoors. He said no one could continue to deny the impact of climate change. John Donnison reports.
The truth is, these are measures that deal with the symptoms of climate change, not the causes. And of course, America historically has been the world's biggest emitter of greenhouse gases. It now comes just behind China. And President Biden's critics will say that faced with a Congress that has sometimes dragged its feet on introducing tougher measures, that basically he has not acted quickly or effectively enough in reducing America's greenhouse gases.
Vladimir Putin has confirmed there's been intensified fighting in Ukraine, especially in the south. The Russian president described the increase in combat activities in the Zaporizhia region as significant. He asserted that Ukrainian forces had suffered big losses and had been pushed back. For its part, Ukraine's military said Russia had carried out heavy shelling of many areas in an effort to halt a Ukrainian advance. Parliament in Jordan has approved a cybercrime bill which rights groups say threatens freedom of expression. The legislation states that those found spreading false news online could face jail terms and fines of up to $28,000. Jordan's Prime Minister has rejected the complaints and insists the government remains open to any form of criticism. But Saleh Al-Amouti, a member of Parliament, fiercely objected to the bill.
I said under the Parliament dome that this is not acceptable and this will affect our security, stability and sovereignty. All the Jordanian people will be jailed. Jordan will turn into a big jail.
World News from the BBC. On the first day of the Russian-Africa summit in St. Petersburg, a photo has been posted on social media showing the head of the Wagner mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, meeting an official from the Central African Republic. The image has caused surprise. Many people expected Mr. Prigozhin to be sidelined by Vladimir Putin. Steve Rosenberg has more.
It's amazing. You know, when you think that just over a month ago, it was Mr. Prigozhin who basically organised a mutiny, an insurrection. His Wagner fighters were marching on Moscow. Vladimir Putin, first of all, described this as a stab in the back. He described the people who had organised this mutiny as traitors. And yet just over a month later, there he is smiling, a free man in St. Petersburg. According to the deal that Wagner did with the Kremlin back then, Mr. Prigozhin was supposed to leave Russia and go to Belarus.
The Democratic Republic of Congo has accused Rwandan soldiers of crossing into its territory. The Congolese army issued a statement describing the alleged incursion into North Kivu province as an intolerable provocation. It said the Rwandan soldiers had been forced back across the border. There's been no word from Rwanda. The Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has met President Biden at the White House. The two leaders said they discussed boosting trade. Ms Meloni has been given a warm welcome to Washington, largely because of her government's strong backing for Ukraine. A Turkish drone is reported to have killed 10 Kurdish-led fighters in northeast Syria. Local media say the drone hit 2 vehicles belonging to the US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces in Hasaka province. This week, Turkey has launched a French fresh round of airstrikes against Kurdish targets in Syria and Iraq. Ankara has long been fighting Kurdish insurgent groups inside Turkey. BBC News.